Hello everyone, welcome to the MBA program. This will be a short video on just a review of what the MBA program is. Lots of times students will ask, why do I need to take this course or that course, depending on what it is? And there's a lot of good reasons for that. Within the MBA program, there's usually a dozen or so courses. If you're taking a concentration, you might have a couple others, but generally all courses in an MBA interrelate in one manner or another. They're all vital functions of organizations today. 50, 100 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago, uh, half the functions that we have today were non-existent. Um, you know, started organizational behavior, starting at the top center there. We, that was something years ago was non-existent. A lot of organizations worked in the more like a dictatorship or just do as I say, and there was no concern about people's feelings or anything like that. And so today we're in a different environment. So organizational behavior is part of that. Management information systems, which is IT, non-existent years ago. Today it is a part of every organization. And it's just understanding certain functions on how everything works, how the different networks and so forth works in a company. Corporate finance. Where does the money come from? There's a lot that goes to that, and there's sometimes people confuse finance and accounting or merge them together. They are two different functions. Research methods, again, years ago wasn't necessarily maybe utilized a lot. Today, every company does research of some side, of some kind or other, researching your competitors, researching how to produce new products, uh, better ways to do logistics, supply chain. So there's lots of emphasis on research. Organizational management, again, how the actual management of the company or the organization, um, management strategies kind of go hand in hand. What strategies are there for the future and expansion or just maintaining current operations, and being that we're in a global environment anymore, again, uh, you have to incorporate the global perspective versus just local. Investment management, again, some companies, businesses investing, but also companies and organizations invest in themselves. So how do you recognize what's necessary, what to do, what not to do? Social media, which is also a marketing course. Um, Social media non-existent 20 years ago, even 15 years, it's, somewhere in that ballpark. Um, so again, marketing, you still have traditional marketing, but there's a social media aspect that goes along with it, and that's a vital part today. And that's a vital part of an MBA is keeping up with current trends. Um, on to the human resource, again, something else that wasn't really around years ago. Today is one of the number one functions within an organization. Um, there's so many aspects to it, and it's you got what they call strategic HR. You got basic HR management, but you also have the strategic side of it. How do we look at things like benefits and globalization, diversity, and a lot of other issues in there. Managerial economics, that understanding how the economy works, understanding how it impacts business, um, and how to implement changes and look at the proper or to make the right decisions for be it investing, expansion, maybe shrinkage, depending on what the situation is. Um, Having enough vision and foresight to look ahead and see what might happen based on certain economic factors. Uh, so things like that, like looking at tariffs, international trade, partnerships. There's a whole array of things that go into that. The managerial accounting, again, the budgets, how to do budgets, what to look for, what to recognize if there's something wrong. So there's all those aspects. Global leadership, which is also the international business. Again, we are a global economy anymore. Sometimes during election cycles in the U.S., some politicians will boast about made in America, but the reality is, as a global environment, um, international trade is going to be in both directions is part of the way the world is, and understanding how to operate in foreign countries is part of what we do. All of these courses roll into the capstone project, where you take bits and pieces of everything you've learned. You pick a company, either a company you work for or a public company. You will identify a problem with the company, and analyze it and do a project on it. So that's pretty much how that all rolls into that, and also current for today and the future, not the past. Um, for leaders and managers, you must possess a working knowledge of multiple functions. Um, you have to understand how to operate, how to perform, how to identify operational problems, how to direct, and how to lead change. Leading change is also a buzzword in the past day, having to do with the constant changing environment that we live in. And so the managers and leaders of the future have to understand how to lead changing environments, things that happen. And there's also the innovation and vision. A lot of my courses, I talk about Blockbuster Video as an example of a company that lacked the leadership and also the innovation and vision to look ahead. Today we have Netflix. We don't have to have that. We could have had Blockbuster, but Blockbuster missed the boat. And again, that's a good example, or that company's a good example of not having enough vision, innovation, to leadership, and different things going on within it. So that's why we use that one. But anyway, that's why there are multiple functional areas for an MBA program. So all the courses interrelate um, within an organization, and so leaders have to have an understanding of all that. You have to be able to understand or see that something's wrong. Regardless of your position, um, being able to notice something, the number might be off, something ain't working right, and that's part of what you'll probably be doing there. Having that ability to recognize something and then be able to be proactive on it. Also having the vision to look ahead and say, hey, what about this or what about that? And also being able to incorporate a team to work with you on these things. So that's pretty much it. A quick summary. Sorry, almost 8 minutes here. So, but with that, welcome to the MBA program, and learn a lot.